Chapter 1. The Joke of the Galaxy. Captain Relic of the Voidian Marauder sneered as he looked at the small, furry creature cradled in the human scientist's arms. "This," he scoffed, his 4 eyes blinking in amusement. "This is what you brought to defend your research station. A Terran rabbit." The other alien mercenaries, hulking Bruthax with armored hides and sleek, cyber-enhanced Zenthians, burst into laughter. Even the station's robotic custodians emitted low, mocking whirs. Dr. Elias Carter adjusted his glasses and smiled. "His name is Oliver. And yes, he's just a rabbit. But he's also part of an experiment." Relic's mandibles twitched. "An experiment in futility. The void spawn are coming. They've already consumed 3 colonies. And you think this will stop them?" Oliver twitched his nose, his large brown eyes blinking innocently. The void spawn were the galaxy's newest terror, amorphous, ever-evolving predators that absorbed organic matter and adapted to any weapon used against them. Plasma rifles. Useless after the first volley. Nanite disruptors. They evolved immunity within hours. And yet, Elias had insisted on keeping Oliver in the station's lab while the rest of the Galactic Defense Corps prepared for a last stand. "Let them laugh," Elias murmured, stroking Oliver's fur. "They won't be laughing soon." Chapter 2. The First Mutation. The alarms blared. "Void spawn breach in Sector 7," the station's AI announced. Relic and his mercenaries rushed to the barricades, their weapons humming to life. The Bruthax unleashed torrents of plasma fire, while the Zenthians deployed their neural disruptors. For a moment it worked. The first wave of void spawn, gelatinous black masses with glowing red cores, slithered back, their outer layers burning. Then they changed. Their surfaces hardened into reflective armor, deflecting the plasma. The disruptor pulses, absorbed and repurposed. The void spawn lunged forward, tendrils whipping out, impaling 2 Bruthax and dissolving them within seconds. "Fall back!" Relic roared. Elias, watching from the lab's security feed, clenched his fists. "It's time." He placed Oliver into the genetic accelerator, a machine designed to force rapid evolution in a controlled environment. The rabbit let out a small squeak as the chamber hummed to life. "Initiating sequence Omega," the AI confirmed. The machine flashed. Oliver's body twisted. Chapter 3. The Nightmare Awakens. The void spawn reached the lab doors. Relic and the survivors had retreated, their weapons useless. The creatures oozed forward, sensing fresh prey. Then the doors exploded outward, not from the void spawn but from within. Something new emerged. Oliver was no longer a rabbit. His body had stretched, limbs elongating into sinewy, clawed appendages. His fur had hardened into jagged, chitinous plates. His eyes, once soft and brown, were now glowing crimson slits. And his teeth, rows of serrated needle-like fangs dripped with a viscous, black fluid. The void spawn hesitated. For the first time they retreated. Oliver's maw split into a grotesque grin. Then he attacked. Chapter 4. Predator versus Predator. The station became a battleground of horrors. Oliver moved like liquid death, his claws shredding through void spawn flesh faster than they could regenerate. His fangs injected a toxin that forced evolution, but not in the void spawn's favor. Their own adaptive abilities turned against them, their cells overloading from the rapid mutations. Relic watched in stunned silence as the creature that was once a harmless pet ripped apart the galaxy's greatest threat. What did you do to it?" he whispered. Elias's expression was grim. "The void spawn adapt to survive. So I made something that forces adaptation, until it kills them. Oliver wasn't just evolving. He was punishing evolution itself. Chapter 5. The Cost of Victory. By dawn, the station was silent. The void spawn were gone, reduced to bubbling sludge. Oliver sat in the center of the carnage, his form still shifting, his body unable to settle on a single shape. Elias approached slowly. "Oliver!" The creature turned. For a moment, his eyes softened, recognizing his master. Then a new mutation took hold. Oliver's body convulsed, his flesh writhing as if something inside him was fighting to get out. "No!" Elias whispered. The last thing he saw was Oliver's form splitting apart, before the creature that was once a pet unleashed a final, unstoppable transformation. Epilogue. The laughter dies. The distress signal from the research station was brief. "This is Captain Relic. The void spawn are gone. But we have a new problem." A screech echoed in the background, something far worse than the void spawn. "The human's pet. It's not done evolving." Then static. And across the galaxy, those who had once laughed at the human's pet now realized their mistake. Because Oliver was no longer a joke. He was the nightmare. The final transmission. Static hissed through the comms array of the Galactic Defense Hub as Admiral Vera leaned forward, her scaled fingers tightening around the armrests of her command chair. "Repeat your last, Captain Relic. What do you mean? It's not done evolving." No answer. Only the sound of something moving in the background, a wet, skittering noise like chitin scraping against metal. Then a scream. Not Relic's. One of the Zenthians. The transmission crackled again, and this time it wasn't Relic's voice that answered. It was Elias. "Admiral, you need to quarantine this sector. Now." His voice was ragged, breathless. "Oliver, he's not just adapting anymore. He's optimizing." A deep, guttural growl reverberated through the speakers, followed by the sound of tearing metal. "What is he becoming?" Vera demanded. Elias let out a broken laugh. "Something that shouldn't exist." Then a sound like 100 bones snapping at once. The transmission cut off. The horror takes shape. Inside the ruined research station, the air was thick with the stench of ozone and decay. Oliver, or what was left of him, was no longer recognizable as anything organic. His body had fractured, splitting into multiple forms at once, each more grotesque than the last. A towering, skeletal figure with too many joints, its limbs ending in hooked talons. A swarm of smaller insectoid creatures, each a perfect replication of his original rabbit form, except for the teeth. A pulsating gelatinous mass that absorbed the remains of the void spawn, repurposing their biomass into something worse. Relic, the last survivor, backed against a shattered viewport, his plasma rifle trembling in his hands. "Stay back," he snarled. The central mass of Oliver, a shifting, semi-liquid horror with glowing red veins, tilted what might have been a head. Then, in a voice that was both a whisper and a roar, it spoke. "Why?" The word wasn't in any language. It was implanted directly into Relic's mind, a psychic intrusion that made his skull throb. You can talk now." Relic choked out. "Not talk. Understand." Oliver's forms rippled, merging and splitting like liquid. The void spawn were flawed. They only adapted to survive. I adapt to consume. Then, with a speed that defied physics, Oliver surged forward. Relic fired. The plasma bolt struck Oliver's central mass, and was absorbed, his body instantly restructuring to render the weapon useless. The last thing Relic saw was Oliver's maw, an abyss of teeth and darkness, opening wide. Quarantine fails. Admiral Vera didn't hesitate. "Glass the station," she ordered. The fleet's orbital cannons charged, targeting the research outpost. A full-scale planetary bombardment was the only way to be sure. But as the lasers fired, something streaked out from the station's wreckage. A single darting shape, no bigger than a rabbit. The cannons obliterated the facility in a blaze of superheated plasma. Vera allowed herself a breath. Then the alarms blared again. "Admiral! Unknown life form detected on Deck 4. Her blood turned to ice. Because when the security feed flickered to life, she saw it. A small, furry creature with glowing red eyes. And it was multiplying. The last laugh. 3 cycles later, the Galactic Council received a final message from the doomed fleet. It was a single image. Oliver, now a towering biomechanical abomination, perched atop the ruins of the defense hub. His body was no longer just flesh and bone, it was everything. Void spawn biomass, scrapped warships, the corpses of those who had laughed at him. And beneath the image, a phrase, translated into every known language in the galaxy. "You called me a pet." Then silence. The transmission cut off, leaving the galaxy with one horrifying certainty. Oliver wasn't just a nightmare. He was the future,